Hello everyone, welcome to my third video for Port Sunlight Community Hub. I am going to be making chocolate truffle pudding, Christmas puddings with you, okay? So it's not exactly Christmas puddings, but it is chocolate truffles and it's got a Christmas theme, pudding theme to it, okay? So I'm just going to hang about a couple of minutes, or not even a minute actually, but I'll just hang about to see if more people are joining, and then we will get started. So hopefully you've had a lovely day today. We were out in Port Sunlight today and definitely visited the ice cream van, which was lovely. Wasn't it a gorgeous day? So it's hard to think about Christmas when the days are like that, but it's coming soon. And these truffles that I'm making, the Christmas puddings, they don't have to be Christmas puddings. You can make lots of variations on them, and I will explain that when we start talking. Okay, so here we go. I am going to get started. So first of all, I have got some cream. Whoa, nearly dropped it. Now, before we start, I am going to explain. On my fingers, I've got some blue ink and it's not coming off. And I've been scrubbing it and scrubbing it. It's not coming off, but I will keep scrubbing it. But just in case you're wondering what's up with my hands, I've got some blue ink and it's just not coming off. So if anyone's got any tips, let me know how to get any blue ink off. Anyway, so I've got a jug of cream here. I have got 150 ml of cream, and what I'm going to do, I don't know if you saw last week, but we made a ganache. However, I'm going to flavour this ganache this week, and a ganache is a mixture of chocolate and cream, basically, and it is the basic foundation of a truffle. So I've got an orange, and I'm going to zest about half of it into the cream, okay? So the reason I'm zesting it into the cream is so that the flavour soaks in really well to the cream, and then it's going to flavour everything else we've got. Now, you don't have to use orange. As I said, this is very much going to be your recipe, how you want to do it, entirely how you want to flavour it. Just think about what you like. I love orange zest in truffles, so I use it a lot for ourselves, but I know quite a few people don't really like orange and chocolate together, which is quite unusual. I'd say it's one of those things you either absolutely love it or it's not for you. So I'm just going to mix that up, and the cream is actually changing to a slightly orange colour, and I'm going to pop that into the microwave just to boil. Okay, and while that's doing that, I am also going to start making the bases of our Christmas puds. Now, what I'm using here is some offcuts of cake. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked at making birthday cake and then you've got all these little offcuts, or even if you just use the whole cake, you do tend to have a little bit around the border that you cut off. And if you chop that into pieces and freeze it, and then bring it out when you think you want to start making your truffles. So with these offcuts, I'd frozen them, and they're actually left over from some cake we'd made. And I'm going to get a pair of gloves, and we're going to crumble this really, really well, okay? Into really fine crumb. It doesn't take long, so we're just crumbling it up. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. Position. So I'm hoping you can see this. It's tiny fine crumb. Now you can use any cake. I've had chocolate cake left over, but you can use any cake, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it's a bit dry. But basically, crumble it up into fine, I was going to say soil, but you know what I mean, fine crumb, okay? When we've done that, I'm going to catch all the crumb here, because it has gone all over the side. I'm going to take my gloves off. And then it's up to you what you want to add into this. There's a variety of things you can add in. I'm keeping it reasonably simple. You could add in things like brandy, you could add in raisin, you could add raisins, you could add in nuts, dates. I was thinking of doing dates, but then I thought cherries because I like cherries. So what I've got some dried cherries that I am going to chop up. So I've got about 150 grams of cake crumb and 150 grams of cream. Okay, I'm just chopping these cherries up quite finely. We don't need many. If you had dates, that would be lovely. But as I said, entirely up to you. If you don't want to put anything in, that's absolutely fine as well. Okay, so chopping these up. They're going to take a bit of time. This might have been something I should have prepared earlier, but I'll keep chopping. Okay, and we can hear the cream boiling away. It's almost ready. And I'm going to put these to one side for now and get the cream out. Okay, before it bubbles out. Okay, so we've got our cream. Okay, you can see it's bubbling away. And we are going to add that to our chocolate to make a ganache. So we need to strain that as well. So first of all, I'm going to melt our chocolate. Always same way, in the microwave. And the heat from this is going to help melt the chocolate as well. So we've boiled our cream. We're leaving the orange to to infuse into that cream. That orange zest should infuse in really nicely, and I shall keep chopping these while I wait for the chocolate to melt as well. Okay, so for those of you who haven't watched previous videos, you need to melt your chocolate. My favourite way of melting chocolate is in the microwave. Another way, if I've got a tiny amount, is a hairdryer, which I love using. It's a bit noisy on a video though, so I won't use it today. I noticed last week it was a bit noisy. Okay, so just keep chopping this and we'll be there soon. So if you are melting chocolate in a microwave, you put it in on full power for 1 minute and then give it a stir. You can hear that, that's almost ready. So give it a stir and then 30 seconds at a time, as mentioned in the past. Now with this, the chocolate will start melting and then we can add the cream in. Now normally, I must admit, I would leave the cream to infuse overnight with the orange zest so that you've got a really lovely orangey flavour. But we haven't got all night, have we? So yeah, I'm just going to leave it for a short while. You can still smell the flavour in that orange, and there's plenty of orange oil in the zest, so we should still get plenty of flavour. Okay, and our chocolate is almost ready. Lovely. Okay, so our chocolate's almost molten. What I'm going to do, I'll move the cherries out of the way again, and I'm going to strain the cream so that you don't get bits of orange zest, because you don't want bitty bits in there. You actually just want the flavour really. So I'm just straining that off so that there's no zest left in the cream. It's very thick cream. I always use double cream when I make truffles. I find that works best. I don't add anything else like butter or syrup or any chemicals. We stick to just chocolate and cream. And obviously flavours like the orange. If I was making orange truffles, this is exactly what I would do. Okay. So for those of you who did watch before, we're going to stir our cream into our chocolate. We're not going to over stir it, otherwise it does split. And we just gently mix it in. And we're trying to just get the chocolate and the cream to make a lovely emulsion together, okay? So stir that in nicely. Now I thought it would be quite nice to use the pumpkin spice we made last week and use that in our ganache as well to have a little bit of warmth to our truffles. So I've got that saved that we made last week, and I'm just going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of pumpkin spice into the ganache. I wish you could smell this. It smells lovely. Orange, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves. It just smells gorgeous. Okay, so we have that. We have our ganache ready. So what we're going to do now is get our cake crumb, put some gloves on, because this is the messy bit. And if you do have children doing this with you, then you can always invite them to help you. They love doing the cake crumb, and they'll also love this bit. So we've got our cake. We are going to add in the cherries that we've just chopped into this. Again, as I said, you can add in nuts, you can add in all sorts really, but just make sure it's quite finely ground. Okay, and then we add in our ganache mixture that we just had. And we combine the cake, this is lovely and gooey now, with the cherries, the ganache. You can smell this. Well, you can't, I can. This is absolutely gorgeous. We're going to add in, so at the moment you can see lots of cake and very little ganache, and it needs to be equal quantities. So adding it all in and get it nice and gooey. Now at this point it's quite warm and it's quite gooey, so it's not really going to do much. It's not going to take shape too well. So at this point what we'll do is we will get some parchment paper. I'm going to get rid of these gloves. And I'm going to get some parchment paper, and we can scoop small amounts onto the parchment paper. So just little dollops. It's a very technical term, the little dollops. But it's up to you how big you want to make them. You could make them quite large, but I tend to use about 1 teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon worth. Okay, they look quite rough at the moment. They don't look like anything special really, but they will. Trust me, they will. Okay, so, and this mixture will make about 50 small truffles. Okay, so I am going to get the one I prepared earlier. So we have these ready. Excuse me. So here are the ones I prepared earlier. And what we'll do is we'll just shape them a little bit better so that they're nice round balls. And then we can start decorating them. But really, these are fine to eat as they are now. It's entirely up to you. As I said, you could dust these with a bit of cinnamon and icing sugar. You could dip them in chocolate if you wanted. But if you roll them into nice little balls, they'll be perfect for doing little Christmas puddings. Okay, so we're rolling these into balls. Does anyone have any questions? I can see your comments today, so I know my mum's watching, so hello mum. And I can see Claire watching as well. Hi Claire. So just popping these in. So just tiny little balls And as I said, I really like adding Tia Maria to these. And if I was adding Tia Maria, I'd put in about 50 ml of Tia Maria, which is quite a lot. It would be lovely and strong, but you would have to leave it quite a bit longer to let it set. Okay. And as I said, little ones love helping with this, so if they do want to get involved, let them help. It's lovely when they help in the kitchen, isn't it? Okay. So I've done 10 here. I won't do all 50 of the ones we could do. I've done 10. So as I said, at this point, you can eat them as they are, or you can start doing a few different things with them. So I'm going to do 2 different ways. So we have white chocolate. So I'm just going to get a tiny bit of white chocolate and melt that. And while that's melting, I am going to chop up some glacé cherries, because I want to put glacé cherries on top. We've put sour cherries in the middle of the mixture, but I think glacé cherries look lovely with a little bit of sparkle and shine on them. So I'm just chopping these into quarters. Okay. I won't do too many, because otherwise I'll just have to eat them all. You can freeze them as well though. Okay, so we've got some glacé cherries. I'm melting our white chocolate, and then we shall start decorating these. Now you need really small piping bags. Sorry, I keep jumping on and off camera. I was just getting these piping bags. So you need finer piping bags, and you don't have to do this with paper. You can just use a piping bag. I quite like these because they give quite a lot of control at the end of the tip. Okay. And our white chocolate has almost melted. It just needs another 10 seconds or so. I've only done a tiny amount because we don't need to do much. And as I said, I would normally do it with the hairdryer, but I just thought it was quite noisy. So, just waiting for that. And with these truffles, they don't have to be circular, because Christmas puddings generally aren't completely circular, are they? So it's up to you how you want to do them. I've left a few a bit uneven on purpose, and I shall explain why in a minute. Okay, so our chocolate has melted now. It's nice and molten. And we are going to pop that into the little piping bag. And you don't need much at all. I would say less than 50 grams for that. So it's got really messy here today. That's the way it is with chocolate, isn't it? Okay, so we've got our piping bag. I always like to do a bit of practice on this side. Now I don't know if you can see this, and again I'm going to have to hold it at an angle while I do it. But basically, if you just pipe the chocolate on and make it look like it's dripping down. We've got a teeny tiny one here. Okay, just piping it on, just a little bit on top. And the reason I use white chocolate is it takes away from that sourness of the sour cherries, and it looks nice. And you could use icing sugar if you want to. I just like using chocolate a lot. So, and it gives it a lovely taste as well, as I said. Okay, so I've done 6 here, and then we're going to pop the cherries on top. Okay, these are massive cherries which I've chopped up. You can make them whatever size you want. There we go. So we've got those ready. Now you've got a few left, so I thought with Christmas puddings, it would be fun to make some Christmas snowballs. So I've got the white chocolate that I've just melted, and if you put another glove on, we do get through quite a few gloves here, okay, and grab some of the white chocolate into the palm of your hand, just a tiny bit, you don't need too much, okay, put a little bit into the palm of your hand, and then get your little balls that you made and just roll it into the white chocolate, and you have to give it a couple of coats for it to look snowbally, because obviously the brown will shine through, and just keep topping your hand up with a bit of white chocolate. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, I think the reflection's quite strong. I will add some pictures in the comments so you can see it properly as well. Okay, so just keep rolling it, and it sets quite quickly. It does set within a couple of minutes, so rolling that in. So I'm aiming to do another 6, because we've done 6 Christmas puddings, we'll do 6 snowballs. You could always add in cranberries into this one if you want, because white chocolate and cranberry is an absolutely gorgeous combination. I'm sure you all know that if you're chocoholics anyway. Okay, so I'm giving them a second coat now, okay, and you can see they look a lot whiter there. They do look a bit more snowbally. If you wanted to, you could add coconut on top to make it even look even more effective, and it's quite a nice thing to do just for a party or a get-together. We don't have many of those at the moment, but it's just a nice thing to do for family anyway, just at home. Fun thing to do. Okay, so we have all our treats ready. Let's make them look a bit nicer. And I did have a slate. Okay, now they set quite quickly, so you can, you know, this white chocolate that we were doing, so that's set quite nicely there. So we're going to pop them on there. It's very hard trying to look at yourself in a camera and keep your glasses on and keep it all balanced. Hopefully none will go rolling off. Okay, and here's our snowballs. Not sure if you can see those too well. Probably could do with a bit more white chocolate around the edges there. There we go. And we're going to make it snow on this as well. So I've got some icing sugar. I am going to raise this onto a bowl so you can see. And I've got a teaspoon of icing sugar. And it's snowing. I love doing this bit. It will sweeten it up a bit more as well, but obviously you could add cinnamon to it. Okay, so there we go. We've got our Christmas puddings. Oh, they're running away. There you go. Trying to hold them still. I'm actually going to get the camera. Hopefully I won't disconnect you all. Oh, hello everybody. You can see the ceiling now. Now you can see me. And now, hopefully, you can see the truffles. Can you? No, you can't. You can see the mess. There you go. There's the truffles. Hopefully you can see them. There we go. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Feel free to ask any questions. I will have a look later and I'll be able to comment on anything. And I will try and remember to put the quantities online afterwards as well, so you can have a go at making them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye.